What the?
Yeah, again.
What the?
You see that? The minute I pointed this at
Yep.
the trap.
This is really weird. Every time we flash our lights on it, the rocks start to fall from the ravine again. It's almost this indication that something wants us to get out of there.
Ronny LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot Warned saw the signs first. Strange sounds, eerie lights, and unexplainable encounters. He tried to warn us, but we didn't listen. Now the truth is unfolding. The departure that shocked the woods. For years, Expedition Bigfoot captivated viewers with its daring search for America's most mysterious creature. At the heart of the series stood Ronny LeBlanc, the man whose calm confidence, love for discovery, and deep respect for the unknown made him a fan favorite. His fascination with the legend of Bigfoot had started long before television fame, and when the series debuted, he became one of its most recognizable faces. But in mid-2024, something changed. After 4 strong seasons, Ronny LeBlanc made the decision to leave the show, a choice that surprised many and raised even more questions. From the beginning, Ronny's presence on Expedition Bigfoot was more than entertainment. He brought genuine curiosity and a grounded approach to every episode. While others focused on high-tech gadgets and dramatic moments, Ronny emphasized patience, intuition, and teamwork. He often guided the group's field strategy, dividing teams to explore wider territories and encouraging them to notice even the smallest details. His deep respect for nature and his methodical thinking became the heartbeat of the show's investigations. Fans saw him as both a steady hand and a believer who balanced science with wonder. Behind the scenes, Expedition Bigfoot was a large and complex production created by Rail Splitter Pictures and aired on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. It blended fieldwork with storytelling and suspense. The show's success relied on teamwork, from field investigators to production crews and researchers. But the pressure of maintaining this balance, while also delivering genuine results, could sometimes cause friction. As the series evolved, viewers noticed subtle shifts in tone, pacing, and focus. These changes, though gradual, hinted at growing creative differences among the team. In July of 2024, Ronny confirmed that he was stepping away from Expedition Bigfoot. His message was calm but firm. He had chosen to leave for many reasons. While he did not list them all, he made one thing clear. His decision was rooted in principle. A key factor behind his exit was his frustration with how the cryptozoology community treated a young researcher named Daniel Lee Barnett. The 15-year-old had become the target of harsh criticism and accusations, with some claiming he had faked evidence related to eDNA research. Ronny spoke out in the boy's defense, expressing his sadness that such behavior existed within a community that was supposed to value curiosity and discovery. To Ronny, this was more than just a disagreement. It reflected a deeper problem in the world of Bigfoot research, a growing divide between open-minded explorers and rigid skeptics. He believed that young researchers should be encouraged, not ridiculed. His choice to step away was both personal and symbolic, a way to distance himself from what he saw as unnecessary negativity and gatekeeping. After his announcement, fans were quick to react. Online communities lit up with discussions, many expressing disappointment and confusion. Some believed he left because of the ongoing hostility within the field, while others speculated that creative tensions behind the camera had played a role. There were whispers that Ronny wanted to follow a more spiritual or paranormal path in his research, one that did not fully align with the show's evolving scientific format. Others mentioned the emotional toll of long shoots, extreme conditions, and the pressure of living up to audience expectations. What became clear was that Ronny's departure left a noticeable void. Viewers missed his sincerity, his calm reasoning, and his balance between skepticism and belief. Without him, many felt that the show lost some of its heart. Discussions on fan forums often echoed a similar sentiment. Expedition Bigfoot had changed, and not necessarily for the better. Despite being in the spotlight, Ronny still faced several challenges that only a few knew about. The silent battles of Ronny LeBlanc. Behind the calm voice and steady smile of Ronny LeBlanc lies a man who has faced more challenges than most realize. To many fans, he is the brave explorer from Expedition Bigfoot, the man who dared to search for the truth behind one of the world's greatest mysteries. But beyond the cameras and discoveries, Ronny's path has been filled with unseen struggles. frustrations, and personal tests that reveal a more human side to his extraordinary story. When Ronny decided to step away from Expedition Bigfoot, many assumed it was just a career move or a change of direction. Yet the truth seems to go deeper. His departure was not only about leaving a television show, it was also about stepping away from a growing storm within the very community he had supported for years. The world of cryptozoology, the study of hidden or unknown creatures, can be exciting, but it is also deeply divided. For every believer who dreams of uncovering the impossible, there are skeptics who demand proof for every claim. In between stand people like Ronny, who try to bridge both sides with curiosity and respect. Over time, that balance became harder to maintain. Ronny's frustration became clear when he spoke about the behavior within the cryptid and paranormal community. He had grown tired of the criticism, the arguments, and the lack of kindness toward newcomers. A particular incident involving a 15-year-old researcher named Daniel Lee Barnett struck a nerve. The young boy was accused of faking evidence, and instead of encouragement, he was met with harsh words. For Ronny, this was a painful reflection of what the field had become, a place where jealousy and judgment sometimes drowned out genuine discovery. He felt the spirit of exploration was being lost, replaced by competition and negativity. This disappointment was not only directed at a few people, but at a culture that seemed to be drifting away from curiosity and wonder. Many who admired Ronny understood his frustration. They too had seen how the community often attacked its members, especially those who dared to think differently. The dream of uniting science and mystery was fading under the weight of egos and endless arguments. Beyond the community tension, Ronny also faced another major challenge: balancing real research with television storytelling. Shows like Expedition Bigfoot thrive on drama, suspense, and excitement. But true field research often means long hours, quiet observation, and small discoveries that do not always translate well to the screen. This created a silent conflict: how to remain authentic as a researcher while also creating an entertaining show for millions of viewers. Ronny's work often blended traditional Bigfoot research with elements that reached into the paranormal. Reports of glowing orbs, strange lights, and even theories about interdimensional activity. While many fans found these ideas fascinating, others saw them as too far-fetched. Some critics labeled them as woo, dismissing his approach as overly mystical. Yet this openness to the unknown was part of what made Ronny stand out. He was never afraid to consider possibilities beyond conventional explanations. Still, it was not easy to defend such beliefs in a world that demanded evidence. Behind the scenes, the constant push and pull between scientific restraint and open-minded speculation created tension, not only among researchers but also within production teams trying to balance credibility and entertainment. For someone like Ronny, who valued integrity, that tension could be exhausting. Then there were the personal and physical demands of the work itself. Filming in remote locations for weeks or months meant long hours, rough weather, and separation from family and friends. Field expeditions often required 12-hour workdays and near constant movement through harsh terrain. Even for a seasoned outdoorsman like Ronny, this lifestyle could take a toll over time. Some fans speculated that exhaustion or personal pressures might have influenced his decision to leave, though no such reasons were ever confirmed. What added even more mystery to his exit was the fact that Ronny never revealed the full story. He admitted there were many reasons behind his decision, but he chose to keep most of them private. This silence only deepened the intrigue as followers continued to debate what might have truly pushed him away. Some believed it was his growing disillusionment with the negativity in the community. Others felt it was creative frustration with the show's direction. A few thought it might simply have been time for him to move on to something new. Whatever the full truth may be, one thing is certain: Ronny LeBlanc's departure reflected the weight of years spent walking a difficult line between truth and belief, science and mystery, community and isolation. Before we dive into what Ronny warned the whole world about, let's take a look at how his journey started out. Ronny's hidden path to success. In the quiet town of Leominster, Massachusetts, a young boy once wandered through the thick woods, drawn to strange lights flickering in the night sky. His name was Ronny LeBlanc, and even as a child he could sense that something mysterious surrounded his hometown. The people of Leominster whispered stories about unusual creatures, glowing orbs, and odd noises echoing through the trees. Locals called the area Monsterland, and it became more than just a nickname. It was a place where the unknown seemed alive. For Ronny, those stories were not only thrilling, they were the spark that would guide his life's work. Growing up in this place of strange legends, Ronny developed a deep curiosity about what existed beyond what the eye could see. While others treated the tales of Bigfoot and UFOs as wild folklore, he treated them as clues. As he explored the forests and listened to locals speak of encounters they could not explain, a quiet determination began to grow inside him. He wanted to find the truth, no matter how unbelievable it seemed. That determination would eventually shape him into one of the most recognized faces in the world of cryptozoology and paranormal research. Years later, Ronny would share his discoveries and theories through his books, which became key pieces of work for anyone fascinated by the mysteries of our world. His first book, Monsterland, Encounters with UFOs, Bigfoot, and Orange Orbs, explored the strange connections between unidentified flying objects, large mysterious creatures, and the strange glowing lights often seen in the skies above Leominster. His second book, Monsterland, Shamans, Sasquatch, Synchronicity, and High Strangeness, went even deeper, blending stories, experiences, and patterns that linked supernatural events in ways few had ever considered before. Through his writing, he built a bridge between science, mystery, and open-minded wonder. One of Ronny's proudest moments came in the year 2010, when he discovered and cast what he claimed was the first authentic Bigfoot footprint ever found in Massachusetts. This print, taken from a trackway deep in the woods, marked a turning point in his life. It wasn't just about proving Bigfoot's existence, it was about capturing evidence of something extraordinary in a place most people overlooked. That discovery drew attention from researchers, enthusiasts, and television producers who wanted to know more about the man brave enough to chase the unknown. Ronny's fascination with the unexplained soon took him beyond books and interviews. His knowledge, patience, and charisma earned him a spot on the hit television series Expedition Bigfoot, which aired on the Travel Channel and Discovery Networks. The show followed a team of dedicated researchers as they ventured into remote wilderness areas, searching for clues about the elusive creature that had captured human imagination for centuries. From the first season through the fourth, Ronny became a fan favorite. His calm nature, scientific approach, and willingness to explore possibilities beyond traditional logic made him stand out. On the show, viewers watched him trek through dark forests, set up high-tech equipment, and analyze strange evidence. In one episode, he and his teammate investigated eerie sounds that echoed through the night. Distant thumps, knocks, and cries that left even experienced outdoorsmen unsettled. Ronny's blend of curiosity and caution made those moments especially gripping. He did not jump to conclusions, but he did not dismiss what he heard either. I say see. For many fans, his presence was a balance between skepticism and belief, science and spirit. Beyond television, Ronny continued to reach audiences through podcasts, documentaries, and live lectures. He hosted and appeared on paranormal programs, sharing stories from his research and encouraging people to keep an open mind. His Monsterland podcast, named after the legendary region that inspired his career, brought together witnesses, scientists, and enthusiasts to discuss mysteries both local and global. Now, let's take a look at the warnings Ronny gave and why they were ignored. The warnings we ignored. Throughout his years of research, Ronny LeBlanc became known not only for his discoveries, but for his warnings. Quiet, haunting alerts that often came before something strange unfolded. To many, these moments seemed like intuition or coincidence, but to Ronny, they carried deep meaning. His warnings were not about superstition or fear. They were based on patterns he had observed time and time again in the field. They revealed a world that was far more connected, unpredictable, and dangerous than most people dared to believe. His cautions could be grouped into three main kinds: physical, psychological, and cosmic. Each type reflected a different layer of the unknown, and together they painted a picture of something much larger than a single creature in the woods. The first type, physical warnings, were the easiest to understand, yet the hardest to face. Ronny often spoke about moments when he felt an unseen presence nearby, a sense of being watched or followed. Sometimes strange sounds echoed through the forest just beyond the light of their camp. Branches snapped, Footsteps circled, and once or twice, equipment was found moved or damaged by something powerful. In one expedition, he had warned his team that something was too close. They brushed it off, eager to keep filming. But later that night, something large approached their camp. Their motion sensors triggered repeatedly, capturing brief, shadowy movements that no one could explain. The feeling of being hunted became impossible to ignore. Then there were the psychological and energetic warnings, the ones that left a deeper mark on those who experienced them. Ronny believed that certain areas emitted an energy that could influence the human mind. Members of his team sometimes reported sudden chills, bursts of anxiety, or even a feeling that time had slowed or twisted. One night, he mentioned that he felt as though something unseen was whispering through the trees, not a sound, but a pressure, a vibration that filled the air. Minutes later, the group's cameras picked up faint, distorted voices that none of them heard in real time. Experiences like this convinced him that the phenomena they were tracking weren't purely physical. Something was interacting on another level, touching consciousness itself. The third and most mysterious type were his cosmic warnings, the patterns he noticed linking Bigfoot encounters with UFO sightings, glowing orbs, and strange coincidences that defied logic. In his research and writing, Ronny pointed out that these events often overlapped. A bright orb in the sky might appear before strange footprints were found, or electronic devices would fail moments before something unexplainable occurred. He began to believe that Bigfoot was part of a larger, interconnected phenomenon, one that involved dimensions, energies, or realities we did not yet understand. His warnings about this cosmic link were not meant to frighten, but to remind people that the universe might be far stranger and more alive than we imagine. One of his most chilling experiences came during an expedition deep in the wilderness. He sensed something was nearby and told the team to stay alert. They continued forward, skeptical but cautious. Hours later, their recorders captured low, rhythmic knocking sounds, patterns that seemed deliberate. The team froze as a series of heavy steps echoed behind them, stopping just beyond their lights. By morning, they found large impressions in the mud. Not human, not bear, but something else entirely. It was a moment that validated his instincts and reinforced his belief that these warnings were never random. Other field researchers and locals later reported similar experiences. Some claimed to have seen glowing figures moving silently between the trees. Others described orbs that darted through the forest, changing color before vanishing. Even skeptics admitted that certain areas felt charged with an energy that couldn't be explained. Motion sensors, thermal cameras, and night vision equipment often malfunctioned during these moments. While not all evidence was clear, the consistency of these reports made it difficult to dismiss them as coincidence. Ronny's warnings carried an important message that humanity's greatest mistake might be its arrogance. Too often, people step into the unknown thinking they can control it or dismiss it when it doesn't fit their understanding. He believed that ignoring these signs was dangerous, not only because of physical harm, but because it meant turning away from truths that could reshape our view of existence itself. But what were the consequences of this action? Keep on watching to find out more. The price of silence. For years, Ronny LeBlanc tried to make people see that the mysteries he encountered were not just stories meant to scare or entertain. They were signs. Small, subtle, and often ignored, pointing to something much larger than anyone wanted to admit. But the world wasn't ready to listen. The reasons were many, and the cost of that silence has been heavier than most realize. The first wall Ronny faced was simple disbelief. The legend of Bigfoot has long been buried under laughter and skepticism. To many, it's just a campfire tale, a story for children, or a gimmick for television. When serious researchers try to discuss it, they are met with raised eyebrows or mocking smiles. The media, hungry for excitement, often turns real investigations into spectacle, trimming away the science and leaving only the shock value. What might have been evidence becomes entertainment, and the truth gets lost in the noise. In such an environment, Ronny's careful warnings about danger or energy shifts sounded like superstition to those who did not understand the depth of his work. Beyond the public's reaction, there were invisible barriers within the institutions that shaped how his discoveries were shared. Television networks have limits. Not everything caught on camera can be shown. Sometimes it's legal restrictions. Other times it's concerns about liability or safety. There are scenes too dark, too uncertain, or too controversial for public airing. Budget constraints also cut investigations short, forcing teams to leave an area just as it begins to reveal something strange. Even fellow investigators sometimes pull back, fearing ridicule or danger. It's one thing to chase shadows in the woods. It's another to risk your reputation or safety for something the world says is not real. Then there's the mind itself, the hardest barrier of all. Human nature clings to what feels safe and familiar. When faced with something impossible, the instinct is to dismiss it. People tell themselves it's just the wind, just an animal, just a trick of the light. That's how the brain protects itself from fear. But this same comfort blinds us to possibilities beyond our understanding. Ronny saw this pattern over and over again, not only in skeptics, but even in those who wanted to believe. Cognitive dissonance, that silent tug between belief and denial, kept people from accepting what was right before them. And so, the cost grew. Every ignored warning left behind traces. Footprints washed away by rain, strange sounds left unrecorded, motion sensors mysteriously shut off. Equipment malfunctioned or disappeared, evidence was damaged, and the few who dared to speak up were labeled as dreamers or frauds. Some researchers placed themselves in danger by venturing too far, unprepared for what might be waiting. Others walked away entirely, worn down by ridicule or fear. But perhaps the greatest cost is what we may never know. If Ronny's warnings were pieces of a larger puzzle, then every missed clue pushed us further from understanding the truth. What if the encounters were not isolated events, but part of a greater pattern, something happening quietly in the dark while the world looked the other way? What if the things we dismissed as myths are closer, smarter, and more aware than we dare to admit? Ronny LeBlanc's most defining moments. Every great explorer leaves behind traces of their journey, moments that reveal their courage, curiosity, and conviction. For Ronny LeBlanc, those traces are more than just memories. They are physical and spiritual imprints of his lifelong search for the unknown. His work in the field of cryptozoology has given rise to some of the most talked about moments in recent paranormal research, each event carrying a piece of his story and his growing legacy. One of the most important milestones in Ronny's career came in the year 2010. Deep in the Massachusetts wilderness, while exploring a quiet stretch of forest near his hometown of Leominster, he discovered what appeared to be an unusual set of tracks in the mud. The footprints were large, human-like, but far too broad and deep to belong to any known species in the area. Carefully, he cast the print, preserving it for study. This moment marked the first known Bigfoot print ever documented in Massachusetts, and it became a key point in his journey. Though some questioned the evidence, the discovery placed Ronny firmly among the leading voices exploring the mystery of Bigfoot. Years later, Ronny's fieldwork reached a wider audience through Expedition Bigfoot, where his investigations became central to the show's unfolding mystery. In one notable episode, he and Dr. Maria Mayer ventured deep into the forest after detecting strange noises echoing through the night. The sound was rhythmic, heavy, and unlike anything they had heard before. With thermal cameras and motion sensors, they followed the trail, determined to uncover what was moving just beyond their lights. These moments on screen captured Ronny's calm yet fearless nature, his ability to remain focused even as the unknown seemed to close in around him. Another important chapter in his work involved DNA and environmental DNA research, where samples collected from the field showed results that puzzled even experts. Though the findings were never publicly confirmed, reports hinted at anomalies that did not fit known species profiles. These outcomes pushed Ronny to think beyond traditional boundaries. To him, the results were a sign that the mystery might extend beyond mere biology, perhaps touching on something larger, something not yet defined by science. Finally, in the year 2024, Ronny made the difficult decision to step away from Expedition Bigfoot. He explained that his departure was the result of multiple reasons, including frustrations within the research community and how a young investigator had been treated. His exit marked the end of a major chapter, but also the beginning of a new one, a continuation of his work on his terms. Each of these incidents, the footprint, the field encounters, the mysterious DNA, and his public exit, form a trail that tells a deeper story. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.